So Neill Blomkamp is currently working on District 10. I've done a few videos on this, and a lot of people, whenever I have done a video on this now, people are like, oh my god, really? You're lying. Like, no, 100%. Neill Blomkamp is working on District 10, a District 9 sequel. A movie which came out way back when now, and that's not a joke, 2009. Crazy, 12 years ago. 12 years ago, doesn't time fly? Now, interestingly enough, Neill Blomkamp hasn't really been very vocal on why nothing has come out. He's been plodding along, doing his own thing, really, hasn't he? He had his, his sort of trilogy of films that he was working on. He did Elysium and Chappie, and then it sort of fell apart for him. And it fell apart from Alien 5, which I've done some extensive videos on, and I'm really proud of the work I've done, sort of reporting on the ins and outs of that and putting together story and concept art. But it was a shame that he fell out of favour with Hollywood, because I do think that he's a good director. Now, I don't think ultimately his vision works for everyone, and I think that he has a set vision, and it's very much, this is what I want to do. And in Hollywood you do have to toe the line, and I respect the man for not always towing the line. I've got a lot of respect for him for that. So District 10, it is being worked on, it is being written. But where are we? What was the inspiration? What was the sort of musing for it all? Well, in a new interview with NME, yes, of all bloody things, NME, he came out and revealed some stuff. So, the rumours of the sequel over the years, of course, but the director only recently confirmed District 10's existence in February, which he just did sort of blasé on Twitter. What a great way of just announcing it. Oh yeah, I'm working on it. Alright, mate. But thankfully he's working on it with his wife. I think it's his wife, his collaboration partner. And the projects that he's done with that individual are 10 times, they're always better. 9 times out of 10, they're always better. But in this exclusive interview in NME, Blomkamp explained why it's taken over a decade to get the sequel underway. And again, this kind of gives a lot, it gives me a lot more respect for the chap. Like, it really does. So he says this: for a decade, there never really seemed to be a good reason to make a sequel. It just didn't feel like there was a justifiable reason to go back to that world in a way where there was something to actually say. I mean, look, what was it that came out recently where they instantly greenlit a sequel? Well, literally, there's so many things that they greenlight sequels to instantaneously. And yes, it's a sign of success, but also it's a sign of, like, well, you're doing it just to grab money as well. And that's the sign of the success part, isn't it? Now, District 9 was a success. It stemmed from Alive in Joburg, a little short film that he'd made. And arguably, it was a success. It was a successful film. It put his name on the map. It's kind of a cult classic now, I guess you could say. Loads of people have so much respect for this film. And I got a lot of respect for him to sit there and say, there just wasn't a good enough reason. I didn't have anything to say, And this isn't, I can relate to this. A lot of people want me to do a sequel to one of the short films I've done. And I'm like, there's not, as much as people like it, it's a case of artistically and creatively, do I have something that I want to tell in that story, in that universe? And I can really relate to Neill on this level. And it gives me a lot more respect for the chap. Like, it really, really does. But he also added, all the experience of my adolescence growing up in South Africa was defined by what District 9 said. And that was the end of it. That was literally it. He just wanted to tell. And it is apartheid. Like, someone tried to correct me on that. But he has come out in interviews and said, no, it's apartheid. Which makes sense. Like, of course, South Africa, unfortunately, has a massive history of that. In fact, I did a review of a movie called, was it Alive in Pretoria or something like that? I can't remember what it was called, but basically that I think it was Daniel Radcliffe. That was a fantastic movie, and that sort of told the story of apartheid really, really well. And then he continues and says this is sort of inspiration behind it and where we're at currently. So he says, but I saw a documentary about a well-known socio-political topic 2 years ago. Now, he has said in another interview that this is to do with something, I believe, stateside. So I hope above all hopes, that it is not, I repeat, I hope that it is not to do with the recent things that have been coming out more and more. I think we are inundated with it, and I think creatively it will become stagnant by the time this film comes out. You can say that those stories need to be told, that's fine, but when it is swamping, inundating what movies and the narratives in those films that are currently out, it will become stagnant. It is creatively bankrupt after a while, no matter how many of these stories need to be told. Now, I roll my eyes and I groan at the amount of goddamn movies that are about Churchill at the moment. And Winston Churchill's, in terms of the UK, national hero. But boy, do I roll my eyes at the amount of films that are made about him. Because it is creatively bankrupt. It is stagnant. How many times can you tell the same goddamn story? And if this sort of socio-political issue stateside is all to do with what's been coming out more and more prevalently nowadays, it will become stagnant because there's enough of it. There is enough of it. Just from that creative level. And I know that'll rub a few people up the wrong way. Go clutch your pearls elsewhere. Now he says, obviously that had a massive effect on me. It made me understand how this sequel could have a real reason for existing. The second that clicked, I just began working. And he is working with Sharlto Copley on this as well. That's a big plus. Really like... Sharlto Copley's here. I really like Sharlto Copley. And I think like he's an interesting guy. I think he has he will be having some creative input. Like they're working on it together. They're collaborating together. And I think I think there's something in that as well. Like he's a smart dude. If you watch him in interviews and things like that, so that's good. That's positive. Now he finished out the interview just by simply saying it's far into the writing stages now and it's going pretty well, but I'm just super creatively into what we've come up with and I just want to throw everything into it. Good. A lot of respect for the chap. With respect to the movie on a whole, the reasons for not going back to it so soon, yeah, fine. Agree. Absolutely agree. I've done other videos on this. I really hope that the socio-political topic marries up nicely with what they were trying to tell about apartheid. Because if it's what I think it is, it won't. And I really hope it does. So we'll have to see. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. If you're new here, you stayed this long, so you clearly enjoyed the video. Either that or you're literally one of those freaks that just hate watch people. But hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.